Allahu Akbar, I have a bomb in my bag. Or, well, people think I do when I say Allahu Akbar. I actually find it kind of funny that people are afraid of us Muslims. It's like being afraid of an apple or a cactus. Actually, scratch that. Apples hurt if they're thrown at your head, and cactus needles can draw blood. So how about Muslims are as frightening as a non-threatening object? Insert your own. But underneath my laughter, and yours, it's pretty sad that people are afraid of us Muslims. I mean, we're people too. We like to go home and sleep and eat sandwiches. We also happen to pray 5 times a day. And during our prayers, we do say Allahu Akbar. But all that means is God is great. It does not mean we have a bomb in our bag, contrary to popular belief. And this belief stems from terrorists or suicide bombers screaming out, Allahu Akbar, before they kill a bunch of people. Talk about giving Muslims a bad rap. And everywhere you turn, terrorism is such a prevalent topic in our society today. Headlines scream out, war on terror, terror in Boston, and threats of Islamic radicalization. And in my opinion, one of the biggest terrorist groups of today is Daesh. And I'm not going to call Daesh ISIS or ISIL, and no one else should. And there are a couple of reasons is that ISIS stands for the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, and ISIL stands for the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. There are a couple of things wrong with that statement, but actually, there are a lot of things wrong with those statements, but I'm only going to address one issue right now, and that issue is that Daesh is not an Islamic state. People should not be calling them that. Who do people think us Muslims are? Do they think we can just kill people? My religion preaches peace and brotherhood. I don't know about yours. In Surah 17, verse 70, the Quran states, respect and honor all human beings irrespective of their religion, color, race, sex, language, status, property, birth, profession, and so on. So basically everything that someone could hate someone else for. And yet, do people believe that my religion is allowing Daesh to behead people? No. Then in the Middle East, Daesh is using Islam as the reason to behead and kill and bomb the Shias there.
Come to the main office. Julia Truett to the main office.
And the Shias there, and the Christians, and the Sunnis that don't agree with them. Why? Simply because they're different. Simply because they have a different view on the world. So for the Shias, they have a different view on Islam, and that's why they're being killed. For the Christians, they're simply not Muslim, and that's why they're being killed. And as for the Sunnis who don't agree with them, which is pretty much all of them, that's why they're being killed. What happened to respecting and honoring people's differences? Honestly, people call Daesh the Islamic State. Like, where? Where do I see Muslims? I don't see Muslims. All I see are a bunch of low-life murderers. Because in the Quran, as we read before, we have to honor and respect people's differences. And Daesh clearly didn't read the Quran. And then people call them radicalized Sunnis. Like, I'm a Shia, and I find that offensive. Imagine the Sunnis. Sunnis are Muslims. Sunnis do not kill people because, they're Muslim, and Muslims don't kill people. And yet, people say Daesh are Sunnis. Daesh are not Sunni because they aren't even Muslim. The second reason why people should not call Daesh ISIS or ISIL is because they are not a state. If you call them a state, you are giving them validity. Daesh is not a country, nor is it a nation. It is a terrorist organization. And people should not give them legitimacy by calling them a state. There are a couple of reasons as to why Daesh is not considered a state. The first reason is that Daesh doesn't even want to be a legitimate state. They want to be the only legitimate state in the world. Talk about wanting to be ruler of this world. By the way, in John 12:31, Satan is also referred to as the ruler of this world. let's think about that for a second. Daesh wants to rule the world. You know who else wants to rule the world? The devil. See what I'm getting at? The second reason why Daesh cannot and should not be considered a state is because they use violence to continue their agenda of world domination and the eradication of what they consider to be non-Muslims. And I know, throughout history, countries have started wars, have even attempted to eradicate entire nations. And yet, Daesh is doing both of those things. But the reason why it's so bad is because today those things are abhorred and looked down upon. And that is why Daesh cannot and should not be considered a state, Islamic or not. And the final reason why Daesh shouldn't be called ISIS or ISIL is simply because they hate the name Daesh. Sorry, it's true. It's actually my favorite reason. Because you see, Daesh wants to be respected. They want to be called the name they gave themselves. Well, guess what? Daesh does not deserve respect. Instead, they deserve to be called Daesh. And I don't know if you guys know what Daesh actually means, but the Arabic literal translation of it is to step on or crush something. And in this case, Daesh actually refers to a bigot who imposes his worldview on others. A very apt description if you ask me. Daesh is like a big boot that steps on and crushes the people it oppresses. Well, guess what? Soon they will learn that they cannot step on or crush people who are not afraid. And we are not afraid. We are especially not afraid of their threats. Daesh threatened to cut out the tongue of anyone who called them Daesh instead of ISIS or ISIL. Well, here you go, Daesh. Daesh, Daesh, Daesh. Let them come and cut out my tongue. They will see that I still have hands and fingers where I can type or text the word Daesh. And if they cut off my hands, I will learn Morse code so I can blink the word to them. In the end, people should not call Daesh ISIS or ISIL because they are not a legitimate state. They should not be called an Islamic state because they are in no way Islamic or a state. Instead, people should call Daesh the name they hate, Daesh. As for the phrase Allahu Akbar, well, guess I'll wait a little while before I say that out in public. Actually, a couple of days ago, I was walking downtown with my cousin. Her name is also Zara. And what happened was, I forget what we were talking about or what she said, but she exclaimed like, Allahu Akbar. And I told her, shh, be quiet. Because a bunch of people had turned and looked at us. And I told her, like, someone's going to call the police on us. And I wasn't even joking. It's a real visceral fear that if I'm out in public and I say something pertaining to my religion, I'm going to get branded a terrorist. And why would I get branded a terrorist? Because of the terrorists who use my religion, Islam, as a justification for their evil doings. Well, guess what? Muslims are not terrorists. Maybe one day I'll be able to go out and say Allahu Akbar without being afraid of the response I get from people. But until then, if I'm ever being mugged, well, I guess I'll just throw my backpack at the mugger and say Allahu Akbar, and he'll run the other way.